What's up guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here then welcome to our little corner of the internet. Today we're going to be watching a video titled Florida's Geography Problem, which if I think about it, Florida might have some little problems like crocodiles and alligators and at least what I've heard about Florida men. Is that a thing? But geography problem? What? It looks amazing. I don't know. Let's see what this video is about.
This is the state of Florida. Geographically speaking, it's a giant peninsula surrounded by thousands of islands located in the far southeastern United States.
I mean, is there anything better?
In terms of economics, Florida has the nation's fourth largest economy, and it's ranked first in the nation for aerospace, tourism, and life sciences. Population-wise, Florida is the third largest U.S. state with a whopping 22.6 million residents, making the Florida mega-region one of the most powerful regions in all of America, as the single state of Florida has more residents than Delaware, New Mexico, Montana, Utah, Oregon, Nevada, and Colorado all combined. And you could argue that Florida was actually built on its unique geography with warm coastal weather, 45 different terrestrial ecosystems, and 4,510 distinct islands, located only 200 miles from the Bahamas and
I feel like Florida looks like nowhere else, you know?
Caribbean Sea region. Florida is also famous for its white sandy beaches. Panama City Beach is known as the spring break capital of America.
Wow.
Daytona is world-renowned for its beachside racing, and South Beach, Miami has some of the dreamiest nightlife on planet Earth. However, with 18 Fortune 500 companies located there, I would argue that Florida was built on its deep history of attracting big businesses.
I want to travel now.
And yet, the state's biggest employer, Walt Disney World, is actually headquartered in the state of California, despite controlling its own municipality in Florida. And in recent years, Florida has also started attracting whole new industries with its promise of low state taxes, limited regulation, and relative affordability. The Wall Street of the South is now located in West Palm Beach. Miami's contentious relationship with cryptocurrency firms has grown steadily, and much of southern Florida has become a magnet for disenchanted Silicon Valley companies. But whether it's Disney, Publix, Darden restaurants, or countless others, businesses have come to define Florida as much as Florida has defined them. And it isn't just the big brands making a major impact on Florida either. It's famous billionaire founders like PayPal co-founder Keith Rabois and Citadel founder Ken Griffin. And my guess would be that they are there for a taste of Florida's corporate welfare, not just its key lime pie. If you're wondering what Florida's geography problems have to
I've never tried that, but I don't really like sweets, but that looked good.
Ken Griffin, and my guess would
What is it?
be that they are there for a taste of Florida's corporate welfare, not just its key lime pie.
Key lime pie. Yeah, that looks delicious. Oh, I don't know about the top. Is that top like crunchy? I don't like that. Why am I getting stuck on a pie? It kind of looks like cheesecake.
If you're wondering what Florida's geography problems have to do with greedy multinational corporations, well, I'll get to that soon. But for now, just know that any conversation about the concerns looming over the Sunshine State start and end with its rising overpopulation, pollution, and problematic geography. The state of Florida is defined by its three physiographic regions: the Gulf Coastal Lowlands, the Atlantic Coastal
Wow, it's so weird to see the state of Florida like close like this, because I never like see these little lakes and rivers. It's very, very watery. Interesting. I wonder what those lakes look like.
Lowlands, and the interior highlands. But excluding the Panhandle, where population is sparse, Florida is famously narrow, with the interior highlands and wide coastal lowlands merging in a way that makes the whole state feel like a tropical destination. Of course, Florida's climate isn't really tropical. No, with the exception of a few counties in far South Florida, it's a subtropic state, much like Tennessee. Actually, while Florida has the nation's third highest population, its landmass is only slightly larger than Tennessee, despite it having more than 3 times more residents. Now, the entire state of Florida suffers from serious weather and climate concerns.
There was a dog hair on my face this whole time. I just took a nap with Fendi on the sofa, so that's why.
And Florida's geography problems are worsened by a giant portion of its residents living south of Orlando, as the already low-lying state of Florida sits at about sea level anywhere past Orlando. I'm sure I don't have to tell you that having sea level elevation is a major problem for cities located near the ocean, and the Miami-Dade metropolitan area in far South Florida is home to more than 6 million residents, representing about 28% of the state's total population, with Miami making up nearly 40% of the state's trillion-dollar gross domestic product and being Florida's principal population and economic anchor, which means that a significant portion of the state's economy and population are dependent on its most at-risk city and region. Though I should probably add that the Miami-Dade anchor has recently started shrinking in recent years, with newer economic hubs in Tampa and Orlando fast becoming Florida's epicenter for future growth and success. But Miami is also literally sinking too, with scientists.
It's like Miami is literally sinking too, and I'm like, wow, maybe I could move to Florida because I don't know if I like forests and rain, but that looks nice too. I don't know anymore. Or maybe I just have to like spend half a year somewhere and half a year somewhere else.
Warning that the city, and especially its lowest lying areas, could fall below sea level if significant actions aren't taken soon, which I'm sure isn't very surprising. Because if Florida is the example of America's worst geography, then Miami is Florida's Florida, both in terms of natural disadvantages and the man-made ones.
Look at those buildings. That just gave me a stomachache. That's crazy how tall they are.
With those risks in Florida, and especially Miami, revolving mostly around their limited elevation and enhanced exposure to severe weather and climate change.
I wonder if when I go to America and I go to a city and I see the massive buildings, if I'm going to feel like when I went to a trip to Andorra with my mom and there were like huge mountains, and I don't know why, but I got some type of mountain phobia because they were so tall. It was scary. Maybe I see those buildings and I feel like, like I'm gonna get squished below. I don't know, but those look crazy tall.
Looking at flood, storm, fire, drought, or even heat risk, Florida cities built on structurally weak porous limestone are among the riskiest in all of the U.S. That's why Don Griffin, who handles research for the American Property Insurance Association, says that Florida is constantly in Mother Nature's crosshairs, as Florida is perched between the steamy waters of the South Atlantic and the Caribbean Sea, where 6 of the 10 costliest storms in our nation's history have walloped the Sunshine State, with 3 of them occurring in just the 2 years from 2004 to 2005. So Florida isn't growing because of its geography and all that it entails, it's growing despite it, with Florida residents being forced to live with the kind of harsh realities that someone living in, say, Kansas simply wouldn't. For instance, home and auto insurance in Florida aren't just more than double the national average, they can be nearly impossible to obtain at all, with the state instituting its own in-house insurance group back in 2002, as the list of cities where residents couldn't secure homeowners insurance had already grown beyond imagination. In fact, at this point, pretty much all major property insurance companies, the ones capable of paying out their policies, have pulled out of the state entirely. It isn't just Florida's natural geographic problems or its overpopulation that's pulling shade over the Sunshine State, though. No, if you put aside recent developments, Florida has a deep history of being one of America's most business-friendly states, with limited enforcement, few regulations, low corporate taxes, and no state income tax on individuals. And while that kind of laissez-faire attitude towards business,
Florida is also pretty close to my second home country, Republic Dominican. I really want to visit the Republic Dominican soon, but that would be like, it would be close, to fly over.
Can be a major boon for economic growth.
No. I don't think Florida would be for me, but I don't know. I think it's really cool.
It also comes at the cost of important success factors like safe, sturdy housing, clean air, and clean drinking water. And it's been ballooning, the potential for real catastrophe, in America's 4th biggest economy and 3rd most populated state for decades now, which is especially concerning for a state where much of the development since the early 90s has come out of draining low-lying swamplands, with experts arguing that Florida's unique biodiversity and ecology make it especially vulnerable to the kind of overproduction, pollution, and invasive species that we're currently seeing all over the state. And the chief industries there of travel, agriculture, manufacturing, and shipping directly and significantly exploit each and every one of those serious vulnerabilities. We saw it with the collapse of the 12-story Champlain Tower South back in 2021. We see it with the Piney Point toxic waste disaster. We see it with residents getting sick from phosphate fertilizer mining. And we see it with the Florida Reef, the only coral reef in the continental United States experiencing a multi-year outbreak of tissue loss disease. Florida, the nation's 5th rainiest state, and a peninsula that is literally surrounded by 8,346 miles of coastline, is somehow also running out of clean, usable water. All while 350,000 acres of southeastern Florida are being tested for seismic disruption by Tacala and the Brunette oil companies. Because Florida is so open for business that even as the state faces America's worst level of geographic and geological challenges, the state can't help but to put itself at even further risk.
Is anyone here? Does anyone here live in Florida? Yeah, I mean, everything. I feel like everything is kind of falling apart a little bit everywhere. Like there's issues everywhere. So, but I don't know. I was this whole time like imagining like, oh my goodness, how cool would it be to be in Miami or like to see that? Like, this is like one of the places that you hear about all the time as well as a European. So, I don't know. I'm just excited to see it. But thank you guys for joining me for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't yet. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!